Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So for a very long time now, people have been conditioned to accept the unacceptable, conditioned to defend the indefensible. We were told that this is a movement that will stop children from wanting to end their lives. We were told that this is a movement that helps people live their authentic selves. And what's even more disturbing is that we have laws now that state that we have to affirm people's delusions. Laws that punish people for not going along with the insanity. Laws that even punish people for putting women and children first. When this whole time what people were tricked into going along with was taken up for men with fetishes.
I don't want to be gross, but I mean, I think it is important to the discussion. So would Thomas like undress nude next to you and your female? And does he still date women? Like, do we know this, by the way? So, no, I mean, like, I think that matters.
Yeah. Well, at the time when we were sharing this locker room, when Thomas was fully intact with male parts, Thomas's teammates alerted me that he was still active with women. Now, it's extremely confusing, and I know this based off of public social media posts on their Instagrams. Leah is now dating another male to female transitioner. I believe they call themselves lesbians, but it's really just two men. So it's extremely confusing. It feels as if this is a fetish because now it's come out also that Leah Thomas is just an AGP, which means you're just sexually aroused by dressing as a woman. And it feels as if we as female athletes sharing this changing space, we were betrayed by the people who were supposed to protect us. We were forced to participate in this fetish.
This is what people were tricked into supporting. Now we have a group of young people who are detransitioning, who have been damaged and traumatized psychologically and physically. Meanwhile, we have entitled men going into women's bathrooms, going into women's locker rooms.
Now to this. By now, you've seen the viral Gold's Gym incident. Singer Tish Hyman says a transgender individual, biological male, exposed himself in a women's locker room in Los Angeles. The transgender person, Alexis Black, is now dismissing concerns over the incident while speaking to TMZ.
Could you understand her being uncomfortable?
I certainly do not understand it, but I do get the notion of the fear-mongering that she's perpetuating. The truth in the moment is far from what she is purporting it to be. Literally every time that she's done that, I've had women in the locker room comforting me because of how aggressive she was towards me.
So she was fear-mongering, he says, but we're learning more about Black's past. According to the New York Post, court documents show the biological male had previously been convicted of domestic violence towards his now ex-wife in 2022, among other charges. Black also later allegedly took the name of the victim, Alexis, as his own after transitioning. Black was reportedly sentenced to a year in prison minus time served.
So these unvetted men are going into women's spaces, have been given access to women, and apparently we're not allowed to object to that. Because now these gyms are revoking women's membership. It's the woman who ends up getting punished, for standing up for herself, for telling that man that he doesn't belong there and he shouldn't be there. But now, it's not just women. Men who speak up in defense of women are also getting punished, are also facing backlash, and have faced it for a very long time. So there are men who stand up for women, and we are grateful for those men. Now we have a police officer whose job is in jeopardy because he told the man in the women's only space to get out, which I would say is his job. We're supposed to call the police and be able to rely on the police in situations like this. But now we're having police officers who do the right thing being punished. So this was at the Tucker Reed H. Kofor Library in Tucker, Georgia. On that day, Sasha Swinson, a man who identifies as a woman, was using the library female restroom. After exiting, a male police officer approached him and asked him to use the men's facilities instead. This person ends up on the local news, and it's obvious why a woman or a little girl would not want to be in the restroom with this man. So you're in the restroom, and when you're in the restroom, you can hear people talking, you can hear toilets flushing, all sorts, people going in and out. So imagine you're a woman in the restroom and you hear this voice.
The restroom, the women's restroom, like I have been for months, if not years, never had any issues.
Sarah Swinson is a regular at the Tucker Reed Kofer Library. She says after she used the ladies' room on October 20th, a DeKalb police officer on hand for early voting confronted her.
He says, "Excuse me, sir," so misgendering me right away. "You're not a woman, that's obvious."
Swinson says she tried explaining to the officer that she's a transgender woman, but he got angry.
"This is a police matter. There are women and little girls in there, and I have to protect them."
She says it ended up causing a scene in the middle of the library, and she tried to de-escalate.
Finally, I just nodded, and he walked off, and I was very thankful.
The next day, she emailed library staff, who she says reached out to DeKalb County Police.
The library filed the complaint on my behalf.
There aren't any Georgia laws banning transgender people from using bathrooms aligning with their gender identity. DeKalb PD says its internal affairs unit is actively investigating the incident, but offering few details. A spokesperson said the department, quote, remains dedicated to treating all members of our community with dignity, respect, and professionalism.
I don't even have any words. It's the laws. It's the laws that are allowing this. But don't get me wrong. People keep saying, oh, it's the law, they have no choice. But they didn't have to file a complaint against this police officer. Gold's Gym didn't have to revoke Tish's membership. So I'm inclined to believe it's these places, the people who run these places, that are all for this. They are all for men going into women's facilities. They're all for it. That police officer, we need more police officers like that. I absolutely commend that officer, and I hope that nothing comes of the investigation. I hope he's not punished or he doesn't lose his job for doing the right thing, because that's exactly what we need. That's exactly how we protect women and girls. But of course, it's the laws that have to be changed. The Supreme Court is looking into certain cases at the moment. So hopefully the outcome of those cases will help put an end to this. Will make these state laws null and void. That's what I'm hoping. But it's very, very disturbing that this is where we're at, that a police officer, a person of authority, telling a man not to go into the women's bathroom is now under investigation. Let's stop pretending. This is not right. Girls shouldn't be in the restroom with the likes of this person. I don't care how he's dressed. I don't care what label he puts on himself. He is still a man and will always be a man. This person is quite imposing. And the fact that he's wearing a wig and lipstick and all of that, that doesn't make it better. That doesn't make me think, oh, okay, at least he's trans. Okay, I get it. No. Stop telling us that we have to be okay with this man being in the restroom with us because he's wearing lipstick or he's dressed a certain way. Stop it. And today, it could be a man walking into the restroom and then walking out. But tomorrow, it could be somebody who chooses to take advantage of the access that he has been given to women in the most heinous way possible. That has actually happened to girls in the restroom with a boy wearing a skirt, have experienced SA because of these laws. Is that not a reason alone to go back to common sense laws that ensure that women have their own spaces? You cannot tell these young girls that a man is allowed to be in the restroom with them and they're not allowed to object because he has an identity. No girl should be told that her objection doesn't matter, that her discomfort doesn't matter, that her fear doesn't matter. We have no excuse for ignoring basic biology and trying to replace that with an ideology that endangers women and girls. And you would think the law would be there to protect women and girls, wouldn't you? But now the law has now been designed and reconstructed to protect men with their fetishes, to protect people's feelings. And Swinson apparently contacted a pastor. I'm sure this pastor loves to sport a rainbow-coloured robe. And it was this pastor, Matt O'Rear at St. Luke Lutheran Church, who encouraged him to report the incident to the library. A library employee apologised to Swinson in writing and forwarded the complaint to leadership, who then relayed it to the police department. So the DeKalb County Police Department's Internal Affairs Unit contacted Swinson, confirming that an investigation had been opened into the officer, who had asked him to use the male bathroom. A department spokesperson said the agency could not share additional details while the investigation is ongoing. So DeKalb County and the city of Tucker have non-discrimination ordinances that explicitly protect gender identity. They can self-identify themselves into women's restrooms. Some cities, including Atlanta and Tucker, have local non-discrimination ordinances protecting gender identity in public spaces. So Redux located a Pinterest profile belonging to Swinson, who was born William L. Swinson, that reveals his interest in cross-dressing fetishism, I can't even say that word, and includes concerning themes such as an interest in young boys wearing female attire. My goodness. Is it any surprise to anybody? This is who the law protects. We must protect people's fetishes. In one of his Pinterest boards was bodysuit lingerie. And apparently this Pinterest board has multiple photos of boys in feminine clothing. And these are the sort of photos that Swinson has been posting to this board, pinning to this board. One photo showing a young boy wearing a pink gown and brown wig. This guy is into images of boys dressing up as girls, basically. Edited images that appear to be a child in suggestive feminine attire. The photo has a source link associated with it, which takes users to a saved Yahoo image compilation of young men and boys dressing up for beauty pageants. One of the photos in the anonymously curated collection, which features two very young boys wearing dresses as part of what seems to be an innocent costume event, is captioned, "The hot boy on the right just looks so..." Yeah, you get the idea. Like I say, we do not know who these men are. These laws that allow this are going to attract all kinds of predators. And the police don't even have the power to protect women and girls from these predators, because they can end up getting faced with an investigation, maybe disciplinary action, because the almighty state law says that gender identity allows these men to be in those spaces. We know that things have come out about the man in the locker room at Gold's Gym, or EOS Fitness now it's been changed to, a man that was found guilty of DV against his ex-wife, brutally beat her, a compound fracture to the jaw. One of the most dangerous kinds of fractures, where the bone pokes through the skin, and he only got a year, didn't even serve a full year. This is who these places are allowing to have access to women and little girls. So we know that federally, the Trump administration is making moves to ensure that federally, only two sexes are recognized. But we have courts and local governments insisting on continuing this to affirm that discrimination against transgender people is a form of sex discrimination, a protection grounded in the US Supreme Court's 2020 ruling in Bostock versus Clayton County. So DeKalb County unanimously moved to strengthen those protections by passing a non-discrimination ordinance that explicitly includes gender identity and expression. The ordinance bans biases in public accommodation and county government services, ensuring residents can still file complaints even if federal policy fluctuates. So those people saying that it's the law, they're not wrong. It's the law that is allowing this to continue. And only when it's changed, at the core, at the source of the problem, which is the law, are we going to see, finally, women and girls being protected, these men with fetishes being held accountable, these places that punish women, that allow this, being held accountable. Only then are we going to see changes. It has to come through the law. So I have nothing else for you. This is very disheartening. I hope that this police officer, he deserves a medal. Give him a medal. Do not put him through an investigation. And at this point, I wouldn't want to become a police officer if I'm going to be defending men with fetishes and choosing them over women and girls. You're already losing a lot of good police officers as it is. So let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment and subscribe. Take care of yourselves, and God willing, I will see you in the next video.